Did you guys make anything of the Deebo Peter King report? So this is what Peter King wrote.
Was there a report or a haiku at the end?
This is before the haiku.
Okay.
He was writing about A.J. Brown. He said the landscape of the NFL, particularly with wide receivers, is great for the players because the money is exploding, but it's bad for the fans who love these guys. Deebo Samuel might be next. Heartache by the Bay. You're right. It does kind of read like a poem. Now that goes hand in hand with the Jeremy Fowler transcript from Sunday's Sports Center here from 49ers Web Zone. It appears Deebo still dug in. He still wants to be traded despite going through the draft. But he knows this could be a long wait now that the Niners didn't do a deal. Perhaps they can try and repair the relationship. It has soured.
But it's only soured on his end.
He is sour. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to, not us, but people that are going to talk about it need to be pretty specific now. Like I think John and Kyle have been specifically candid and very, to the point of we love the guy. We want him here, and under no circumstances we entertain a trade. We got peppered with calls that were all a joke to us. So to me, this is on Deebo now, and this is where this used to be the landscape of sports. It was always the player was the bad guy, and as things changed, it became the front office of the bad guy. Now I think every person that you just use common sense and you take in all the information, you figure out this is a Deebo-led problem. And I think for Deebo to not be painted as the bad guy, we're going to need a little more information, my man. Or else it's going to keep turning on you. Because I would imagine we're not going to see him all spring. And the voluntary camp, the mandatory camp, at this pace, you would not expect him to be there. And what I think the 49ers could do, we could argue whether they should do this, is ultimately A.J. Brown was offended by the offer. And $16 million a year. I know the guy, so I'm biased, but I'd say John Robinson's track record as a GM now in Tennessee has been pretty impressive, right? He's been the GM for about 4 or 5 years. They have, he would never say this because I'm sure that he likes him, but Chris Ballard gets all the hype. Check who's been winning the games, right? I mean, the Titans. And Ballard, I would say, universally is viewed as this top GM. Well, John doesn't really, because John's not a media guy. He's not outspoken. He's kind of pretty low key. His track record for players is pretty, and just running an organization, hiring coaches, picking guys, it's pretty impressive. And he wouldn't budge. Well, AJ got his money. So to me, if you're the 49ers, if you offer Deebo, is that enough money? Or is Deebo going to come out? It's not about the money. It's about the destination and where I'm playing. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon, but eventually it's going to start getting weird because the Niners are going to keep saying, we're doing everything we can. We want him here. But I do think they need to take the next step and be we have the Howie Roseman, A.J. Brown offer out to him.
But they may not have that offer out to him. And
well, then that's on them.
Yeah, but I part of, at some point, if there's not an offer to Deebo, right, which was what the story initially was, they didn't love the offer. Then the story was, well, there wasn't actually an offer.
But isn't that the rate, though, kind of now? I mean, it's kind of set for them. They can't.
Right, but what I'm saying is if we got John Lynch and Parag on the show, which they've both been on the show before, but if we got them on the show right now and said, has there been an offer? And they said, no, the reports that there hasn't been an offer are correct. What would our follow-up question be?
Why?
Why hasn't there been an offer? So what would their answer to that be?
Well, it's why they would say I can't do a podcast right now till the situation's figured out.
Right. AJ has a contract now.
Signed it, yeah.
Signed it. So offered, signed, sealed, delivered.
He's on the team under contract.
Is it because of Jimmy? And
if they always decline, they always say that's not true, right? With any financial situation.
Yeah, so what would be the other reasons? Is it because they want him to prove, come in here like Fred and George did, and then we talk money, right? Maybe that's what it is. Because then Deebo goes, well, I don't want to come in there. I don't want you to pay me. I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm asking you to trade me.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some lost in translation here. And they say, great, we'd love to pay you. And Deebo goes, no, I don't want you to pay me. I want you to trade me. And they go, we'd love to pay you. I don't want you to pay me. And they just go in circles like that until deadlines create urgency and the season's coming up and you're getting fined, whatever it is, $50,000 a day because you're missing camp. And what? Then he's just willing to sit out the season? I think that's what they're banking on.
Or is he willing to show up and go Antonio Brown? I would doubt it, right? Because that's another way. Antonio Brown showed up and got himself forced out of town. It's worked for other. There are multiple avenues you can attack this by.
Well, the Niners might say, in their mind, it might be show up and really convince us you don't want to be here, and then that's how he gets traded.
Yeah.
But
like
I don't think he's going to get.
Throws you the ball, it just hits your hands. It just bounces.
Just wear a helmet and don't even try to catch the passes.
Or like he throws you a wheel route, you just hit the ground.
I don't think they're not trading him from Miami or wherever he is.
No. I have a very, very hard time envisioning the John Gruden situation playing out. Khalil Mack held out all camp, and then right before got traded for 2 1s and a pick swap, which is still pretty nuts. And that pick led to a guy that got his 5th-year option declined. And another guy, I'm pretty sure it's already been cut. So pretty big failure. I heard someone say, remember when the analytic Sloan conference gave the Raiders the greatest trade of all time? That didn't age very well.
But that was just about the analytics. They didn't tell him who to draft.
So, yeah, I mean, I maybe the situation's only getting started.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the point of what Fowler wrote. I think the question would be on Peter King. Deebo Samuel might be next, heartache by the Bay. I think part of it with Peter is people think that over the years, we know Peter has shown that he has relationships. Yes, that he has relationships with the 49ers front office and Jed York, and it's the same reason that when Schrager says stuff, it gets people's attention because Schrager hosts the state of the what's it called?
State of the franchise.
State of the franchise. I feel like
in fairness to Peter, like the 49ers came out and said, not only we're not going to trade him, we still love him. And Deebo has kind of doubled down, I think, in the agent circles, right? Fowler, like, I want out. So he's just saying, you could argue he's just telling the truth. Now, ultimately, maybe they're like, we'll see. If it gets bad enough, we'd entertain.
Yeah.
But how could you trade him to the Jets? Who knows? Maybe you could get more future picks than the picks that are right in your hand. So could you get the Jets to give you a 1, a 2, and a 3 staggered over a couple years? But I think people would freak the fuck out because you'd be like, well, you don't have it's empty. It's hollow. You can't do that.
Yeah, you could have just drafted Traylon Burks this year.
Honestly, you could have, hell, you could have just taken Garrett Wilson, number 10.
Or gotten 10, traded back 4 spots. Because what did Traylon Burks go, 18?
18, yeah. I mean, everyone started trading back once you got past 10, right? That's when the trades started flying. People's trading up and down.
Yeah, maybe you couldn't have traded back, but
it would have been difficult. But who knows? Always easy to say. Belichick got mad at this. Everyone's like, why did you trade back? He's like, well, it takes 2 you need a dance partner, right?
Right.
Just because one trade happens doesn't mean another trade was possible at another slot.